Hello and welcome. My name's Melissa Porter.
And my name's Nick Freeman.
Welcome to The Life Coach.
I'm the lawyer.
Join us as together we tackle your toughest problems using our unique combination of wisdom and experience.
Hello.
Hi Joe, how are you? It's Nick here and Melissa.
Hello, Joe.
How are we?
Apparently you've got a little conundrum that you'd like to discuss with us.
It's quite interesting to share about the menopause because I know Nick's going through it, and I know you're married to Nicole Sealey, who's on the Housewives of Cheshire. You guys are a bit of a power couple, and you've been together how many years? 25 years?
Yeah, 18 years.
What I like about what you share with Nicole is I see a real and raw relationship. You guys have been together, you just said 18 years, yeah? And menopause is a natural biological process that women experience between the ages of 40 and 50. And like anything, you know, we could lose our money, yeah? We can fall out of friends. We have the menopause.
Yeah, okay.
How do you deal with it, with Nicole together?
I'll be honest with you, I started posting about it and doing videos about it by accident. And I think that has probably now become my therapy with it. Because if you don't laugh, I mean, it's obviously part of life. And if you're going to be married for better or for worse, your relationship adapts over time. And the same way that if I tripped over, I would hope she would laugh at me.
And pick you up and brush you down.
Yeah, and ask me if I'm all right.
Yeah.
But in the nicest way, you laugh at me. I think this is the same thing, obviously a bit more serious, but I think if I didn't have that, I think that's when you begin to argue. I think for the best part of, forever.
Here.
But we haven't spoke about it.
Yeah. So,
which I think has been a problem.
You deal with this serious situation because obviously it's emotionally, you know, draining for Nicole, and also there's an effect in a partnership. It's not just if someone's experiencing something, there's a knock-on effect for your direct partner. And I appreciate people who deal with things with humour.
Absolutely,
It keeps the energy lighter.
Humour and kindness and actually communication, so you talk about it. So if she's difficult with you, you can actually have a nice conversation and try and understand what's going on rather than just going to bed thinking, oh God, she's called me this and that and I'm feeling really bad about myself, you know.
I think that actually this morning, what you just said has happened this morning. So, I took her to the pictures last night where she was having hot flushes. During the film, I'm not allowed to move, fidget, do nothing. About an hour in, she's like leered over me like Voldemort and started blowing down her top in the middle of the cinema. And then, so I'm like looking at her and I'm thinking, oh my God. And then at 5 o'clock this morning, I said to her, she's like jumped out of bed like an elephant, opened the bedroom.
Do you mean a gazelle?
Well, I said to her, you could open from now on, this is what I said to her. I said, could you open the window at night more like a lady and not like an elephant? Because it's like with all thunder, the window gets slammed open, and I'm the type of person that when I'm awake, I'm now awake, and I find myself at Tesco's this morning at 5:45, waiting for them to open because I've run out of coffee beans, where I should have been sound asleep next to my beautiful wife, not breathing loudly or snoring.
So did you have a chat with her last night? Was you on the way home from the cinema? Or, I mean,
I did this morning about opening the bedroom door.
Maybe you missed the window there, Joe.
Melissa's right. I think you have to work out, like in everything, what is bad behaviour, what is a mood, and what is the menopause. A little bit like, you know, I don't mind talking about this. I'm a recovering drug addict. So what was when I first got recovery? What was me being a and what was me gathering withdrawals? And I don't think it's any different. And I think because we went through that together, she never left me. We never argued about it, really. She just stood by me. It's no different.
Yeah.
So that is so powerful, Joe. That is so powerful, because what I hear you're saying is there's always a reason behind someone's behaviour.
But I think Joe's saying more than that, isn't he? He's saying she was incredibly loyal when I was going through a really difficult time, and I place massive value on that. So that there's going to be reciprocation for that loyalty. Yeah,
I think there is without even knowing it. I think you're married for this long, you've been together. It's like every marriage, isn't it? It's not all plain sailing. You wish it was, but I think also for me, I mean, when she had perimenopause, we didn't know she was going through it, and her dad's got dementia. Now this has stopped happening, but when she was in perimenopause, she was literally forgetting everything. Now, the reason we found out she was in the menopause is because I was so worried about her brain, because she was literally forgetting the kids' names with brain fog, that I thought she was getting dementia. So I took her for tests, and they went, "Do you know you're the other side of perimenopause?" And that felt so much better knowing that than I think my wife's losing, you know, getting what her father's got at 60, you know, and that really was worrying me. So I think, you know, it's hand in hand. And if you know, you love somebody, like, oh, I love her, you've got to work together, haven't you? Good and bad.
But Joe, that's a smart piece of information to share. You know, when somebody is experiencing behaviour that is not atypical, that is out of character, you know, we need to stop self-diagnosing. We need to start, you know, going to see medical professionals.
Absolutely.
But Joe, what would be some tips then? Because I love it. I watch your Instagram, and what would be some tips? Because I love your kind of your vibe. You've got a high, you know, this is a serious situation. What would be some tips?
I think the best tip and the main one is communication. If you can't go without arguing, we need to talk about this or laugh, because I think that's the biggest downfall. I mean, I also collate this to the average age of men standing in a pub in the afternoon is 40 to 60. Standing in a circle saying, my wife's driving me mad. You don't see 20, 30-year-olds doing that.
No.
Now, that's got to be hand in hand. Now, people laugh when I say that, but I think it's true.
You know why, Joe? Because they've got the good sense not to have a wife at that age.
or they're not communicating how each other are feeling, because
they don't need to communicate, do they?
Yeah, I mean, I speak to loads of women now on it, and, you know, a lot of marriages break down, 40% of marriages in divorce in that period, and I think it all comes down to one thing. You've got to communicate how you feel.
Do you not
both
think,
ways.
Do you not think, Joe, it's not just communication, but it's how you communicate. It's the intention behind the communication. It's got to be kind communication, hasn't it? Of course. Rather than blame and shame communication.
Yeah.
Of course. And we can all do, you know, we're all in a bad mood and we can point a finger at something. But at the same time, I have to respect how she feels because I like her to sit there and watch telly with me in the evening. And the other day, at 8 o'clock, she was knackered. Felt menopause. She went, I won't go to bed. Because, you know, I don't want you to, but it's better than you sitting there, you know, snarling at me. Go and do what you need to do. If you need to sleep for 12 hours, you sleep for 12 hours. Don't worry about it, you know, because you want the best for each other, don't you?
Yeah.
And without communication, I don't have a marriage, do I?
In a high tense situation then, when you're, you know, enjoying a movie and you've got, you know, Nicole, your words, not mine, she was snarling at you last night in the theatre. How would you deal with that then? What would be a tip?
I laugh.
So how does she react to that? Did you laugh at her last night in the cinema?
Well, I looked to the right. She was on the right, and then everyone was on the left. And I looked at everyone else and looked at her, like, you know, like back and forth, like a cartoon. I was just like, I can't have popcorn, but you're putting your top up, blowing down your top because you're having a flush. And then I said, do you want to swap seats? Because I was at the end of the aisle, and there was someone sitting the other side of it. I said, do you want to swap? Because I thought you might get more air near the door,
a bit more space.
Yeah, but she didn't want to.
That's so kind, Joe. And what you're doing is you're looking to find solutions because you genuinely care about her needs. But you're also aware of what you can tolerate. And you're at the point, it's like a tipping point, I sense, you know, when we're going through, you know, kind of a high tense situation, there's a tipping point. And at that point, what you're doing is you're expressing to Nicole what you need. And that is such a good advice.
It's before the point, isn't it? Because what the trouble is, once you reach that tipping point, you're then in dangerous territory, aren't you? Because you've got to try and stay kind and communicative and not just, this is too much for me, I've had enough. And I think we all have that tipping point, don't we?
Yeah, I think the thing in the night is the one where you can have an argument. She's like, you know, in a way, she's lucky. Not we're both lucky that I don't mind getting up early. But you could have a full-blown row at 5 a.m. with someone slamming the door open and wakes you up, couldn't you?
And Joe, what's the point when this stops then? What's the point when this is like no longer acceptable?
I'm not sure. It doesn't actually bother me for me. What bothers me is how she's feeling for her, not for me.
That's very impressive. That's good, Joe.
She's quite sensitive. I mean, Nicole's a great communicator. Sometimes, don't get me wrong, she's got an explosive temper, but communication-wise or care, if there's a problem, if I've got a problem, she's number one person that'll stop doing whatever she's doing to make sure anyone's okay. And I think I'm more worried when she's like it for her. Like, how can I help you deal with this? Like, I found out about irritable legs. If you tense your feet and then tense your calves and do some breathing or whatever, which most of the time she will tell me to F off. But
so do you not have a tipping point, Joe? Do you not have a point of no return?
Yeah, there's been times where you go, I'm going out.
So that's how you deal with it. You put some distance between you.
Right,
Yeah, not
Joe.
often.
Joe.
I'm looking for some tips here,
Nick's
Joe.
really struggling. Nick's really struggling. As you know, he's an exceptional lawyer. Okay,
Yes, I
and
know.
we've all got our limitations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. We're human. We're human.
yeah.
Well, most of us are.
What do you think about this male menopause, Joe?
Over the last 6 weeks, I've been getting a lot more comments about this than I did before. Maybe because I've moved it from TikTok to Instagram, and I get a lot more women saying, "Would you be happy if she laughed at impotence?" Now, my answer is the same as anything. My marriage is an open book. If that happens to me, she's more than happy. I'm more than happy for her to talk about it. Now, whether she wants to or not is up to her, because I think that it's not easy. It's not comfortable. I've got a friend that it happens to, and we do talk about it. And he takes a tablet. He takes a tablet now, and I think it's just another part of growing old together. And if you can communicate it, it doesn't become a thing or a block in your marriage.
Yeah.
So if that's communication is laughter, so be it. And if it's not, and I want to cry about it, and she listens to it, that's fine as well. But not talking about it or going,
That's
not
the
wanting to
killer,
listen to
isn't
each
it?
other.
That's the
Yeah,
killer.
'cause we all got friends that go, I've not slept with my. I mean, I've got a friend that goes, I've not slept with my wife in 10 years.
Yeah.
He's in his 70s. He's 70 now.
Yeah.
But if they would have spoke about it or tried different things, it's about working together, isn't it?
Of course.
You and Nicole are a united team. You are unbreakable. And not just, because you're married, but I sense that, from the energy, from the way that you discuss your relationship. Yeah. You're completely set on the idea of meeting her needs. Whilst she also, I haven't spoken to Nicole recently, but I can sense she's also set on meeting your needs. Yeah. And when you have that quality of a relationship, the opposite of that quality relationship is something really poor quality. Somebody that's trying to destroy you, someone that's trying to invalidate you, despite, saying, "Oh, I love you." It's like the guy that says, "I love you," and then he's having sex with another woman. That's not love. No. Right. Yeah. Love is, it's not always, love is sometimes messy. Love is sometimes rude. Love is sometimes
it's real
loud.
and raw, isn't it?
It's
real and raw.
Joe, I love you. I love you and Nicole. Wow.
I'm very lucky to be married to a woman that is my best friend.
That's fantastic, isn't it? That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And we go through ups, we go through downs, literally.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
She's not just my wife. She's my best friend and the person that's been there as much as anyone else has been there for me in my life. I've probably spent more time with her than I have with my parents.
It will be interesting to have her on as well and listen to what she's got to say about this. Women tend to talk about the menopause. Men tend not to because we don't have the platform to do. Now we do, and it's healthy, isn't it? Because I think women like to know a man's perspective.
Joe's talking about it, but he's actually not slagging it off. Yes, he's saying my wife, she slams doors, but he's not saying, she's a horrible bitch.
No.
He's saying this is a symptom of
growing up.
She's
getting
feeling,
old.
It's a natural
Symptom
biological
of life.
process. Her estrogen and progesterone are reducing significantly. And this is what's going on. And I'm struggling with it. We're struggling together and we're laughing at the same time.
Yeah, I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor and I'm not pretending to be. I give nicknames to the symptoms because they're the things that make me laugh. I call the itching head like the ape. The way she lay in bed, you have to lay in bed like a zombie, not move, look straight, window open, fan on. It's normal stuff. I'm not trying to talk about hormones because I don't understand it and I don't want to. But I do understand my wife.
Yeah, lovely.
Well, you're probably quite unique in that perspective.
Joe, thank you for sharing your unique wisdom and just flying the flag for actually being in a solid relationship and working through something that's inevitable.
And being
for
honest
all
and
women.
open. Being honest.
Well, brilliant. And when I can become impotent, you can have me back on.
Joe,
lovely to
have
talk
a lovely
to you,
day.
Joe.
Say hello to Nicole.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Love.
Interesting.
Tell me why it's interesting for you.
Well, it wasn't what I was expecting, to be honest. I was expecting him to be frustrated about her menopause.
Can I tell you why? Because life is not how you see it. Life is how you are. And you have had experiences with me and in your past that frustrate you about the menopause.
Well, everyone's different. and we react differently. And yes, of course, I've had different experiences. But in terms of Joe, I was expecting him to find it much more difficult. He deals with it, kindness, humour, and communication, and that's the secret. But I think that only comes about because he loves his partner. I think if you're not in a loving relationship, you'll use the menopause as a justification, almost a validation of this relationship's nonsense and I need to get out of it. And I think a lot of men probably go down that road because a lot of people, whether men, women, they're not in loving relationships. If you are, then he's cracked it, hasn't he?
But if you want to create a positive roadmap forward, when you and your partner are enjoying a cocktail or you're sitting enjoying each other's company playing Monopoly, devise a roadmap how you're going to deal with volatile situations. Not when you're in the situation. Don't think about having a conversation.
There's nothing wrong with having bad situations because that gives you the opportunity of coping with them.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily want to avoid a bad situation. I'm not saying you should encourage it. But when you have bad situations, great. You've now got the opportunity of seeing how you're going to resolve that.
Love it.
In a positive way.
Love
and
it.
without those bad situations, you never have that opportunity. And in life, you're going to have lots of bad situations.
So did you learn a lot from Joe, how to be nice?
I was waiting for that. He's quite an angel, isn't he, really? Or saint, I think is the expression.
If you'd like to be part of our show, please do send us an email to admin@melissaportercoach.com.